In the summer of 1863, the United States of America was a nation torn in two. The Civil War had raged for 2 long years and the fields of the South were soaked in blood. But now, the war was coming north. General Robert E. Lee, commander of the Confederate Army, had a daring plan. He would march his army into Pennsylvania, strike deep into Union territory, and bring the war to Lincoln's doorstep. Victory here, he believed, would shatter the North's will to fight. What he didn't know was that in a small, quiet town named Gettysburg, his army would meet its match. On July 1, 1863, the first shots rang out west of Gettysburg. Confederate troops encountered Union cavalry unexpectedly. What began as a small clash quickly escalated into a full-scale battle. Union forces, outnumbered and outflanked, retreated through the town, taking heavy casualties. But they found high ground south of town, Cemetery Hill, and they held it. That ground would become the key to everything. By the morning of July 2nd, over 100,000 soldiers had converged on Gettysburg. Lee ordered attacks on both Union flanks. He wanted to break their line from the sides. The fighting was brutal. At places called Little Round Top, the Wheat Field, and Devil's Den, men fought hand to hand. Bayonets clashed, blood stained the grass. At Little Round Top, Union Colonel Joshua Chamberlain and his men made a heroic stand. Low on ammunition, surrounded, they fixed bayonets and charged. They held the hill and saved the line. July 3rd. Lee believed the center of the Union line was weak. He ordered 12,500 Confederate soldiers to march across an open field, directly into enemy fire. It was called Pickett's Charge. For 1 mile they marched in tight formation, under thunderous artillery and rifle fire. Men fell by the hundreds, then thousands. Very few reached the Union lines. Those who did were quickly driven back. In less than an hour, the charge was broken. The Confederate army was shattered. When the smoke cleared, Gettysburg was a field of death. Over 51,000 men had been killed, wounded, or gone missing in just 3 days. Families would wait weeks, months, for news that never came. But for the Union, it was a turning point. Lee's army never again invaded the North. The tide of war had turned. Months later, President Abraham Lincoln stood on that blood-soaked ground to dedicate a cemetery. He spoke for just 2 minutes, but his words would echo for generations, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. That was the Gettysburg Address. Gettysburg was not just a battle. It was the moment America decided what it stood for: freedom, unity, sacrifice. The men who fought there wrote that message in blood, and we the living must never forget it. Remember Gettysburg. Remember what they died for. If this story touched you, subscribe for more true stories that shaped our world.